Mars retrograde in Sagittarius in Scorpio in 2016. Today we're going to talk how this retrograde movement of Mars will impact you personally in your life. Not what's going to happen in the world overall, but how is it going to affect you? Is it going to be relationship? Is it going to be love? Where is Mars going to point its arrows in your life? And almost everyone will be influenced in some way. Some people much more strongly, other people to a lesser degree, because everyone has somewhere in their horoscope Sagittarius or Scorpio in a different area of their horoscope. And I'll explain you how to find that out. You don't need to know any astrology, and I'll give you for every once you find out what planet or what house you have in Sagittarius or Scorpio, I'll explain to you, I'll give you a list of exactly which minute I'm talking exactly about that influence and manifestation and what is most likely to happen, so you're ready to prepare. I'll give you also advice how to deal with Mars retrograde. But first of all, what is Mars retrograde? Once every 2.5 years, for about 10 weeks, Mars looks from the Earth as if it stops while it's moving in the sky and starts moving backwards for about 10 weeks. And then it stops again and starts moving forwards. Mars is not really moving backwards and forwards, but it's an optical illusion from the Earth, but it impacts us in a more different way. Because when Mars moves backwards, as seen from the Earth, it's so much closer to Earth for about 10 weeks. And the energy of Mars, because then Mars is between the Earth and the Sun. Then Mars is on the other side of the here. If here is the Earth, Mars will be here, the Sun will be here. So Mars rays come directly to the Earth without the interference of the Sun, because most of the time Mars will be on the other side of the Sun, and its rays are not so powerful. They don't hit directly the Earth. They first pass through the Sun. They're regulated somehow more by the Sun, which is divine consciousness. But for those 10 weeks every 2.5 years, Mars is directly, without any interference of the Sun between them, throwing its rays to the Earth, so it's 2-3 times closer to the Earth, first of all. So its energy becomes much more intense, much more powerful. And that can be for good or bad. And Mars is known as a more difficult planet because Mars triggers and represents our more animalistic nature, aggression, anger, but also willpower, strength, strength to change things as well, and mobilizing your energy, physical energy. But when too much of that is around, it can turn into aggression, it can turn into frustration, it can turn into the more negative manifestation of Mars is pain, and the pain that is needed for a breakthrough. So it can be an intense period, especially when Mars for about 10 weeks, and in 2016 Mars will be moving retrograde for about 10 weeks from April till July. And anything that Mars is transiting in your life, in your horoscope, will intensify. The energy will start bubbling there. And of course, the ultimate goal of Mars retrograde is not to hurt you, is not to create anger and frustration and obstacles. It's actually the opposite, to help you fix obstacles, is to help you see those problems, and with your willpower, which increases when Mars is closer to the Earth, the willpower of a person increases. And with your willpower to fix those problems. But in order for you to develop your willpower, how does it happen? Well, when you're challenged, basically. How do you develop your strength? How do you toughen up? Again, for you to develop strength and to toughen up, something challenging should come, some provocation, whether from outside or even from within yourself, that awakens. And that's why those periods can be quite uncomfortable of a Mars retrograde period. Because Mars' ultimate goal is, first of all, innovation. Mars is the enemy of the old. Mars wants a breakthrough. Mars wants innovation. Mars wants, wherever there is stale water, wherever there is muddy water, to make a breakthrough, to burst the wound that's festering with pus, for example, talking figuratively, of course. And for you to mobilize it, to kick your ass into action, to do something about that festering wound, rather than just wait around for things to happen. And if you're waiting around, it will come and force you from outside. It will kick your ass as an outer provocation. I don't want to scare you, These are the ultimate goal, is innovation, is bringing new energy, fresh energy, is to get you mobilized and show more willpower in that area of your life, is to help you fix problems in that area of your life by your personal involvement and your personal actions. And to show you areas that if you've neglected them, they can be like a breakthrough from hostile energy, because Mars can be hostile on the lower level. If we've neglected something, or if we left something festering and stagnating, what happens? Bacteria start, or viruses start organizing, and a kind of hostile animals start swarming in that swampy water and attacking us, to awaken us, to clean that pond of dirt in our life, because Mars is the enemy of Saturn in astrology, and Saturn is about having things stay the same way. But Mars wants the opposite. No, it's the rebel. It wants breakthrough. It wants throwing out of the old and allowing a breakthrough of new initiatives. So that's the general influence of Mars. That's what the ultimate purpose of Mars is for you. But how it's going to achieve it depends on how attuned you are to Mars energy in your life. People that very much resist personal empowerment, that resist, especially in that specific area of their life that I'm going to talk about, that resist making changes, that resist taking things in their own hands and showing their own willpower to change things there, well, they're going to have a bit more of a hell of a time, because the universe will force them through some outside force to do that, like inimical, painful force sometimes. Those that are naturally proactive, which is Mars, naturally action-oriented and taking things in their hand, they'll feel the impulse of Mars for action. They'll get organized, they'll sort the problems, they'll break through the ice, they'll get new ideas, they'll start acting on them, so they can pass through those periods with flying colors. And of course, you yourself know better which one of those people are. And everyone is proactive in some areas of their life and not proactive in others. And when I tell you what Mars exactly will impact in your life, you will know which one of the two you'll be, and you can prepare to know that you should take more personal action, to know that you should be ready for a battle, and to know that you should be ready to show more perseverance. Specifically, Mars is the planet of the soldier, to plow through like a soldier, to fight like a soldier. To what do soldiers do? They can go without sleep for days. They mobilize all their energy, physical, emotional, psychological, and they focus it towards one thing, whether it's a target, whether it's an enemy, whatever. So you'll be asked to behave like such a soldier for about 10 weeks when Mars is retrograde, in order to, and at the end of this process, you would be so much more disciplined, so much more trained in that area of your life, so much more able to cope with problems there and not take shit anymore there. And sorry about that. But the whole period is not just 10 weeks. The whole period starts from the moment Mars starting transiting those degrees, first moving forward, and then the retrograde period, it goes back over the same degrees for about 10 weeks. And the final third phase of this period is when Mars again for the third time transits those degrees, passes over this part of the sky, over this part of your horoscope, and starts moving forward. So it's like, almost like the universe is telling you whatever it triggers in your life, starting almost from February 2016 to September 2016, the whole 3 times that Mars is passing over this segment of your horoscope, like the universe is telling you, you need triple whammy of lesson day. You need to repeat this 3 times to get it right. Just like someone who is training for a marathon, they're not going to train for 3-4 weeks and that's it. Oh, they're a world winner now. They can go run Ironman. They have to do it quite a few times. Or someone who is so stuck in a certain part of their life, when Mars comes and triggers that life area 3 times, it's because you need this extra push, you need this extra challenge there to awaken in you your own willpower for action, to awaken in you your own fighting spirit, your own inner disciplinarian soldier. And that's why the whole period, you start seeing it even from February to the end of February 2016, but the most intense is from April till July when Mars is retrograde, because it's most strong. Then things hit you in the face, they become so palpable. If you didn't catch the wind from March already and end of February, then April, May, June, part of July, wow, you're going to feel it for sure. And then Mars moves for the third time and gets out of that zone of its retrograde 3-time passing zone from September. So the whole period you'll see the final results, and you'll be able to, you know, conclude things finally in that area of your life and say, okay, I've conquered that, or, you know, I did that bad or that good here by September 2016. And now let's see who Mars retrograde will impact. Anyone who has planets from in the last 10 degrees of Scorpio and in the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius. And actually anyone who has any planets in the last 10 degrees of the fixed signs and in the first 10 degrees of the mutable signs. Because Mars transits just Scorpio, the last 10 degrees from 20 till 30 in Scorpio. But Mars sends aspect opposite to the sign of Scorpio, which is Taurus. So people with planets in Taurus in the last 10 degrees of Taurus will also feel it. And also the square aspect, which is again activating aspect. Those difficult aspects, opposition that are on a cross basically. If here is Scorpio, the last 10 degrees, here will be Taurus. And here will be, what is that? Aquarius, and here will be Leo on the cross. So the last 10 degrees of Aquarius and Leo will also be triggered by Mars when it's transiting the last 10 degrees of Scorpio. And don't worry, even if you don't know all those things, I'll explain you how to check your birth chart. I have a birth chart calculator, and it's so clear, it's so easy. I'll show you here exactly what to look for and write down what planet you have at those degrees and what house cusps. I'll tell you, the house cusps are different areas of life. The planets are your consciousness towards different things in your life. Anyway, the last time actually Mars was retrograde over those degrees in Scorpio was about 1984, which is a long time ago. It's a very rare activation. Mars transits those degrees once every 2.5 years, but 3 times, very rare. And the last time Mars was transiting the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius, I think was like 1969. I mean, it's a very rare occurrence. They say Mars is retrograde every 2.5 years for 10 weeks, but not at the same sector in your life. So most will be impacted Sagittarius first 10 degrees. So any planet in Sagittarius in the first 10 degrees, or any planet in Scorpio in the last 10 degrees from a sign is 30 degrees only. So from 20 till 30 Scorpio, from 0 till 10 Sagittarius. Whoa, big changes there. Big activation of energy for you. And any planets or house cast there, but also in the last 10 degrees of the fixed signs, which is Leo, Aquarius and Taurus. Leo and Aquarius will feel it less because Mars is sending to them the square aspect, which is 90 degrees, which is 50% strength. But Taurus, the last 10 degrees from 20 to 30 people with Taurus, Ascendant, Sun, Moon, or any house cast there, they'll feel it 100% as well. And people who are in the mutable signs, the first 10 degrees, basically if you have any planets from 0 to 10 degrees in Sagittarius, they'll feel it most strongly. In the first 10 degrees of Gemini, they'll feel it very strongly. The 100% opposite aspect, Sagittarius here, Gemini here. And those who have Virgo or Pisces planets or house cusp in the first 10 degrees of Pisces or Virgo, they'll feel it to 50%. Mars is sending the 90%, 90 degree aspect there, but still activating and kind of, energizing and triggering changes and triggering sometimes tension. And how do you find out what you have on any of those signs? Go to my birth chart calculator. I'm putting a link here. Enter your details. Enter your time, place, birth. If you don't know your time of birth exactly, you cannot check the house cusp. So only watch the videos for the planets. The planets stay the same. So you can Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, or Mercury are the 7 visible planets. They stay the same for the day even if you don't know your time of birth. If you know your time of birth, also check the house cusp table. But let's start with the planetary detail table. Enter your details, go to the planetary detail table. Any of those, Ascendant, Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, I'll talk about each one by one, what it means. So, what happens if you have your Sun from in any of those signs, say your Sun at 23 Scorpio degrees or the Sun at 5 Sagittarius, that's the strongest, or from 20 Scorpio till 30 Scorpio degrees, or from 0 Sagittarius till 10 Sagittarius. But also if you have the Sun, as I said, in Gemini, or all those signs that I'm putting them here, you can check if you have any planets in those degrees. I'm putting a square somewhere here on the screen so you can check, like I've underlined, for example, if you have a Sun in any of those mutable or fixed signs, those 8 signs, there are 8 altogether in those degrees. Then Mars is activating your Sun this year, especially intensely April to July, but the whole period from February till September is active. So Mars wants to kick you into gear, into action in regards to your goals, because the Sun represents naturally your goals, where you see your life going, your overall path and direction in life, your inspirations, your career. So Mars wants to kick you into action to show more willpower in regards to your career. So things in your regards to your career can get very hectic. You can get much more filled with desire for new initiatives in regards to your career. If things are stale in your career, you can kick things up. You can kick the dust off, create some tension there, but because you want a breakthrough of a kind which you can have by September. But if you're not doing it consciously, then it can come to you like pressure from outside. It can come to you like stress at your workplace, like extra duties that make you become like a soldier there, like extra pressure to mobilize your energy. It can come, the Sun represents authority, figures of authority, father figures, bosses, managers above you, government representatives. So this can bring into you some fighting, there might be some, tension between such figures with you. And the ultimate goal is, again, those figures, or your husband. If you're a woman, the Sun can represent the important male figures in your life, or whoever you are. The Sun represents male energy, so important male figures in your life can bring this Mars energy into you by challenging you, by provoking you, by even saying hurtful words or making you do things that are beyond your comfort zone. But again, even if you resist initially and you're like, it's such a pain in the butt, this person or my husband or whatever, this male figure, or my boss, or my teacher who is an authority figure, it's the ultimate goal is again to make you develop your willpower to be more initiative in that area. And if you're naturally more initiative in regards to your career, in regards to your goals, in regards to all those Sun things, then it's not going to be so painful. And the Sun is also very much rules also the physical body, so you can become physically more active, and you might need to vent off more anger, so going to the gym is very important. Mars can stress us a lot, can stress this masculine energy in us, but definitely become much more initiative now. Definitely by the end of this process you'd say, wow, I got so many things done. Even if you didn't want to, I fixed so many problems or whatever. Even if you didn't want to do it, by September you say, I'm so glad I did it. Now I see myself as a much stronger person, So that's about the Sun. There can be any other much different manifestations, but that's all I can think of the top of my head. Okay, so what happens if you have the Moon from 20 degrees Scorpio till 10 degrees Sagittarius, or from 20 degrees Taurus till 10 degrees Gemini, or from 20 degrees Virgo till 10 degrees, what is the next one? From 20 degrees Leo till 10 degrees Virgo, from 20 degrees Aquarius till 10 degrees Pisces. If the moon happens to be there in any of those signs or degrees, then it's your astral body, which is the feelings that gets very strongly activated. The sun works very well with the moon, if it's the moon, because with the Mars, because the sun is also masculine energy, so you get very proactive. With the moon is more feminine energy, so it hits you more on the emotions when Mars triggers it. So you might become emotionally more reactive. You might have to count till then before you react, so otherwise you might step on other people's toes, you might feel more aggravated emotionally, you might have the moon shows emotional bonding and connections with others, so some important emotional connections and relationships with others might be challenged because of this martial extra tense energy. Some problems might have to be fixed there, some problems can escalate. The moon naturally represents women in our life. There might be women bosses or any kind of someone with feminine energy, or your mother or your family overall, your family atmosphere at home. So this can escalate. Any problems that have been swept under the carpet, now during this 2016 in the spring for the Northern Hemisphere, they can escalate. They will come to the surface if your moon is being triggered. Your family, women, your wife, the moon can be your wife, your mother. These people might have more problems in their life that they have to deal with. They might themselves have to develop more willpower to fight with certain problems, or you might be fighting in some way with them. But again, it's ultimately there, so you can, learn how to solve problems in your personal relationship. Learn how to control your emotional reactions, because you have plenty of provocations to you. And depending what house the moon is, it can come from different types of people, but they'll affect you emotionally. So you'd feel like, I want to strangle them. I want to get drunk. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm tense, or under pressure emotionally. And this is a great period to learn how to, in moments of more tension, in moments of more difficulty, how to control your emotions, how to be like a soldier who controls the emotions, how to show more willpower into channeling those emotions into something productive. Again, Mars wants to channel the energy into something productive, and usually it will be whatever house the moon is in, you can achieve something quite productive there, but you can make some breakthrough or change in your home. For example, you might get aggravated that the walls keep peeling at home, and Mars is action, the moon is the home, so you finally decide to relocate. So some stress activates for you positive actions. That's the best way for Mars. Or you might so get annoyed that your mother or someone in your family or some woman is giving you so much shit that you go there, confront them, and you sort this problem out. Or you might, if you've been fighting all the time, this escalates, so you either have to break off that relationship and remove this kind of annoying pestering element of your life, but you have to make some change in regards to family, women, mother, even your wife, in regards to emotional connections with others, or in regards to how you emotionally react to provocation. And this can be a powerful trigger. For example, every time I have Mars trigger my moon, I haven't had it trigger it 3 times like now, like it's going to happen. I have moon in those degrees. My moon is in Leo, so Mars will square it there. But other times when Mars does it very quickly for about a week, normally over the years, I've always been, someone provokes me, someone gets me angry, someone confronts me with some harsh words, and I react very badly to that, but then I start thinking that exactly those harsh words activate me to change something because the moon falls in my 7th house of business partnerships and business, to change something about my business usually, or I have confrontation with clients then, but again it shows me where the problem is, how I'm doing my business. That's how it works. That's the ultimate positive result. Someone challenges you, someone shows something is not working well, and you take things in your hands and activate you. Mars wants to activate you for a breakthrough by first challenging you. Okay. So there might be like something to do with home, with family that you're changing, that there might be some attack there, or some tension that you have to sort out, something that you have to clean, that's been festering. Then what happens if Mercury falls on those degrees? Mercury is the planet of friendships and the people we communicate on a daily basis. So it might be some challenge in friendships. So the life of a friend might be going through some challenge. Or it might be some daily communications that come more provocative. For example, co-workers, teammates, mates, people, your neighbors, Mercury, your relatives, Mercury is also, your siblings is Mercury, your friends on a daily basis, the ones that you go for a drink after work, the ones that you chat on the phone with. This is all Mercury. Our communications overall, your social life is Mercury. So this can be challenged in some way. You might be challenged by others, verbally in particular, and you might feel particularly triggered towards expressing things that you have not said before, almost like fighting with words, almost like, because Mars is the warrior, Mercury is how you communicate, what you say. So people who have been to not speaking out their truth, to not speaking out what they think, they might feel triggered to speak out now, to learn to speak up for themselves, to stand up for themselves, to express their opinions, to be heard. But people who are naturally so, always like not listening to others, interrupting them, being too much in your face, bluntly saying what they think, then Mars can create problems for them, because then it becomes too much Mars energy in their communications and how they express. If you know that you're one of those people, then you have to you'll be provoked. Mars wants to make a breakthrough in you by escalating this masculine angry energy in communications. So you can see the wrong ways. You can see that you've been overdoing it, and you might hurt people in the process, or hurt yourself or your nervous system in the process, or some relationships in the process. But again, it is the ultimate goal is to show you how to handle better Mercury communications and sort out problems there. Mercury is also communication speaking, so you might be very busy with having to put a lot of energy into some mercurial projects, which is about communicating, speaking, working in a team with others. And it might not be so easy because there might be provocation working in groups with others, because someone might want to take over. It might be you that wants to take over. But anyway, Mercury is, so anything in regards to those Mercury things, Mars can trigger and make you activate yourself. For example, I had 2 years ago, Mars retrograde aspecting my Mercury, and I was I was arguing first more with people. I was writing angry emails, then regretting it, but because I knew it was Mercury retrograde, I would delete them, so I don't send them. I count to 10 a few days, But I was also very busy working on Mercury things, recording videos. Mercury is all about media, advertising, writing, speaking, marketing, business arrangements, plannings, organizing, and Mars can make it very hectic period for you in regards to such things. Might teach you, that's what this Mars retrograde period 2.5 years ago taught me. When it happened on my Mercury, how to be much more organized, like a soldier in regards to business, which is Mercury, in regards to ordering, planning, organizing, in regards to doing more videos in shorter periods, in regards to, I had a lot of technical problems, because Mercury is technology, communications and stuff, and Mars created those. Mars is the travel maker, created technical problems, and it showed me how to, so I organized myself to learn better, to do videos, to get better gear for recording, to get better skills, Mercury skills. So Mars can kick your butt into action to develop, to improve like a soldier your skills, because something goes wrong. Because I think someone said, something about my video, someone challenged me that they're too unprofessional. I can't say that very professional now either. But then I learned a lot because I felt bad about it. I got a few courses, I got a few new softwares. So Mars can kick your butt into action to learn new things, new skills, to become more organized, to become more... your brain to be more savvy, and also definitely your mind will be much faster than other times. You might have time slowing down your mind, but it's just as part of just what it is, Okay, then what happens if Venus is on those degrees? In any of those 8 signs, those degrees, Venus is the planet of love and relationships. So there might be some challenge in a love, particularly relationship that brings you pleasure. It might be a close friend that you love to spend time with, have fun, drink, go to spas together. But usually it's some kind of a love relationship that Mars can create tension there. That Mars can show you what's breaking down. That Mars wants to make a breakthrough if something is too stale. So you or the partner might speak out about something they're not happy in the relationship. You and the partner might be fighting more about something. And if the relationship is really stuck and not good, Mars is a separating planet. It can break you up. Mars is the planet of arguments, you know. But if the relationship has a lot of good foundation, there'll still be some, you know, activation of trigger of how to do the relationship better, some confrontation there, some painful periods. But the good thing is that at the same time Mars will help you resolve that, because Mars is also not only problem bringer but problem resolver. So, you know, but at the same time, on another level, people that are single or people that the relationship has become a bit too boring, Mars can bring a lot more excitement there. You know how when people fight, they want to have sex more after that? This is a bit the Venus-Mars combination, love-hate. But definitely Mars is a sexual planet and Venus is a sensual planet. So Mars sexually can activate. So relationships with women and overall romantic relationships, sensual relationships, or if you're a woman, you know, Venus is naturally women, but also your love life. So all these get triggered, they get activated for better or good, whether it's going to be arguments, whether it's to get you into action, to change something about this relationship, to get you into action, to do, to innovate with that relationship, you know. And Venus also shows beauty, how you love yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you make yourself beautiful. So Mars can activate you to finally start taking care of your physical beauty now. Maybe because you are fed up of feeling fat. You get angry and this anger fuels you into action. Or maybe because someone told you, oh, your hair is very bad, like mine. You know, so you're like, oh, I'm going to start taking care of my hair. I'm going to go and do some beauty procedures. So I'm going to mobilize my willpower in order for me to improve my attractiveness to others. Or Venus is, because it's beauty, Mars can be painful procedures in some way. So some people might go under the knife to, you know, something. Or like when I had once Mars transit Venus, that was a short one. It was only 3 days long transit. It's not going to be like now. It's not going to make a breakthrough. If you have it like now, Venus activated, it will make a proper breakthrough in your life in regards to beauty or something with the physical appearance. For me, it was like I went and had a very painful beauty procedure, which made me prettier, but it was, Mars is pain, you know, so it can manifest in that way as well. Okay, but on the positive side, it can be fun time to, when you experiment, when you're more proactive with relationships, when you're more proactive with Venus things, people that are in Venusian careers. If you have your Venus activated, say, fashion, beauty, art, music, working with women, they can find themselves much more ambitious because of Mars activation. They can find themselves much more busy with projects, pushing through, having to use their willpower for some project. Things get activated. But again, there will be provocation. When Mars activates, provocations in there, but there to get you will start it, you know, for the anger to kick you into action. Or the excitement, because Mars can be excitement or anger. Depends how resistant you are. Then, if it's Mars itself, say you have Mars in those degrees, from Sagittarius to from Scorpio to Sagittarius, or, you know, all the others that I told you. Well, Mars is transiting itself and it's triggering yourself. Then all those Mars topic we talk about, which is about self-assertion, which is about proving yourself, which is about fighting something, they get triggered. So it can be 2016 can be a year when you're asked to develop your personal willpower, when you're asked maybe to start a workout regime finally, and to stick with it. and not ask, but you might be asked by being forced by outer circumstances because you feel pain in your body, or because the doctor told you, or you can just feel inspired. Like Mars can get you excited about getting into shape, about being more physically disciplined, about being more physically active, about being more. Mars is not only physical activity. It can definitely stimulate your sex desire as well. Especially the raw, dark, kinky one, not dark, but the raw animalistic sexual desire, so they're likely to have more sex action. But also it can activate your anger more. People that have anger issues, naturally, you'll know if you do, you know yourself, and you see that Mars is activating your Mars, provocations, people stressing you left and right in different areas of your life, and people challenging you because Mars wants to say, like, you cannot if you're a bully or someone who is quite angry themselves, you meet another bully and you both, to see who is stronger, so some kind of fighting. If you're not such a person, then someone can provoke, or some circumstances, your fighting spirit, your spirit of willpower. So at the end of this process, you might find yourself that you've developed much stronger willpower, much stronger desire to ambition, much stronger ability to resist stress. But how do you develop it? By encountering stressful situations. Maybe you'd end up with a workout routine as well. It's different manifestations. Mars is operations as well, and accidents. So you have to be more careful that, if it's meant to be, it will be. They might have some minor. I remember when I had Mars retrograde period, Mars, when for me it happened many years ago. I was 4 years old. I had operation on my thumb, because my Mars is in the third house of hands. So I had 3 times operation on my thumb within those 5-6 months. It just kept festering, because Mars indicates naturally inflammatory processes. So sometimes in extreme cases, you might have the need, if Mars triggers your Mars for some kind of a health issue, something that's physically painful, or some inflammation that happens. The possibilities are many, depends on your personal horoscope. Okay, so that's Mars. Mars, Jupiter, oh, my feet. Mars, Jupiter happens. Okay, that's not so intense unless Jupiter, it's going to trigger the house that Jupiter is in. If Mars is transiting your Jupiter. So if say Mars is in your second house, something with finances. Jupiter is in your second house, Mars triggers something with finances. Jupiter is in your 10th house, something with career. But otherwise, Jupiter is your belief system. So you might have a clash with someone about your belief system. I remember when my partner had Mars retrograde over his Jupiter, for 5 months we kept arguing whether to vaccinate the children or no. We don't even have children, but that was the biggest topic of arguments for us. And his belief system is that his children should be vaccinated. And I told him, I'm not even going to have children with you. That's it. It's clash of belief system, big way. So we almost broke up. That was before our wedding, because of a thing like that, because of a clash of belief system. And Jupiter rules children naturally. So we were fighting about children that we don't even have. Like, go figure, And Jupiter is also wealth. And when my partner had Mars retrograde over his Jupiter 3 times, and his Jupiter was in the second house of the money, so it's even more intense. Jupiter is your financial, how you manage wealth, your attitude towards wealth. So Mars transiting Jupiter can very much activate you about getting more initiative in regards to finances, or to finding new horizons. You become way more adventurous when Mars is transiting your Jupiter. Jupiter is expanding your horizons, whether it's financially, whether it's spiritually, whether it's with knowledge. And Mars can get you so much more proactive in regards to looking for new belief system, in regards to exploring new cultures, in regards to being active with foreigners. Jupiter is foreigners, people that expand your horizons because they're not part of your everyday environment. People that stay far away from you, that are unfamiliar to you. And exactly meeting up with such people, Mars will activate, or with such cultures or different point of views, different belief system, different cultural approach to things, which you might resist because Mars is strongly opinionated initially. But exactly this clash with those, or if you're naturally inclined to such adventure, of the mind and experimenting, and you're welcoming to foreign people or people that are different than you, then it will definitely expand a lot of your opportunities, even bring new ideas for money, even bring new inspirations for your long-term goals and meaning in life, because Jupiter is the meaning in life. So Mars can very much activate you about spiritual matters, about exploring such spiritual matters, about expanding your horizons, about traveling, about seeing the larger picture of the world. And if you're resisting naturally this, it comes to you by people that are very unfamiliar to you, like foreigners, like that are challenging you in some way, like people standing from different social hierarchy, people that kind of, you know, unfamiliar, let's say, and that they challenge your strongly held belief system in some way, and this creates the tension. But eventually, by the end of the process, again, it has expanded your mind even a little bit. And but on the best case scenario, Mars aspecting Jupiter definitely activates you to go look for more abundance, to expand your horizons, to go look for more knowledge, to go cooperate, or to go do action with some, to do some adventures in an unfamiliar circumstances, not only people, but in unfamiliar countries or circumstances or territories. If you were afraid of expanding, Mars transiting your Jupiter can help you do that, even in an aggravating way. If you were afraid of venturing beyond certain comfort zone because your field of vision was smaller, now Jupiter aspecting you, Mars aspecting your Jupiter can expand that. Okay, Mars transiting Saturn. Now that's a bit hard. Now that can be very much more stressful. Mars Jupiter can activate you for money. Mars Jupiter can activate you for adventure. Mars Saturn, on the other hand, they are enemies. Mars is an enemy of Saturn because Saturn wants, as I said, stagnation, wants things to stay as they are, and Mars is the opposite. Mars wants to challenge you. Mars wants new, exciting things, and Mars comes to break walls there. So, especially in the house where Saturn is. So Saturn might be in your 7th house. You might have a lot of hang-ups or psychological hang-ups about relationships. And you want things to stay that way. And Mars comes there and challenges this. So it might be in your 10th house. You might have a pained attitude or very kind of narrow attitude towards authority. And you want things in your career to stay that way. Mars comes, challenges it through challenge with authority figures. So I cannot tell you specifically what happens, but I tell you that Mars transiting Saturn will challenge some walls and break down some walls that were built around you, some old, where the water is really muddy, where it's very stagnant, some very stagnant situation, especially part of your life that you have a lot of fears of. Because wherever Saturn is in your horoscope, this is where we have the biggest fears. Like my husband also had Saturn when Jupiter aspected his Saturn also in the 2nd house, so he has a lot of financial fears. And when Mars aspected it, big expenses out of the blue for £10,000. Had to change something. You know, we were buying house, so that was big expenses, but also big challenge financially. His fears were challenged, and he was stressing. He was saying, "I'm going to have a mental breakdown. I'm so worried." Because Saturn worries you. You know, so whatever Saturn is, we have fears. Mars wants to make you confront those fears, break through them in some way, and it does it like a bulldozer. So he was like, his biggest fears, all of a sudden having extra expenses. He didn't know where he'll get the money, if he will be able to cope. We did. We survived it. You know, he's not anymore. And he said, you know, those 4 or 5 months was so intense for me. I thought I was going to go crazy. I was all my fears, you know. But at the same time, because we managed to do it, there was stressful. It mobilized us. Now I'm no longer afraid of us falling into such situations. and financially specifically, because that's where his Saturn is, like fears financially. But I want to just give you an example of how it's going to work. So something about your fears, something that you really want to naturally hold on to and to keep the way it is, and you're afraid that if it changes your life, when Mars aspects your Saturn, you'll be provoked in that direction. You'll be provoked to face those fears or to break. It will chip away at those fears, so helps you at the end of this process not be so fearful about that thing, not be so holding on to that thing so strongly. So definitely Mars transiting your Saturn, more intense period, more provocations. There might be provocations for authority, from authority figures. Saturn naturally rules all the people, all authoritarian people that are putting pressure on you, or you might be putting pressure on you to work harder, to be better in some way. But Saturn is like never satisfied. Saturn is kind of, no matter how much you're doing, Saturn always feels like, I can do better, you can do better, it's not good enough, you know. So this might be a little bit of that energy there. But Mars wants to break through those fears of Saturn, you know. And so Saturn, there might be some aggravation that comes to you from more provocative figures or youthful figures in regards to your own fears or in regards to your old things that you are hung up to, you know. Anyway, these are the only planets you should look at. The 7 visible planets. Don't go beyond Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. These are generational. They don't very much, you know. They also can be activated, but we don't have that much time to talk about. And then Mars transiting through the house cusp. Go to the house cusp table. My birth chart calculator, I'm showing you how it shows. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you see any of those 1, 2, 3 till 12? Do you see anything there that says within those degrees that I'm mentioning? 20 till 30 Scorpio, 20 till 30 Leo, 20 till 30 Aquarius, 20 till 30 Taurus, or 0 till 10 Sagittarius, 0 till 10 Virgo, 0 till 10 Pisces, 0 till 10 Gemini. Do you see any degree that falls within the scope? Okay, what if it's the Ascendant? The Ascendant is your physical body. So there can be some Mars, you know, activation of the need to be more physically active. There can be more the need to now activate your physical energy. Obviously, Mars wants to tell you something that you might have to fight for something. First of all, the Ascendant is your whole path in life. So you're the Ascendant. The Ascendant is the most personal part of the horoscope. When the Ascendant is triggered by Mars, it's indicative that the whole period, especially from April till July, but even till September, February till September, the whole period will on and off in waves, not daily, but in 3 stages. You have to fight about something. You'd have to prove your assert about something. Sometimes I've seen people go into court cases, or sometimes I've seen people fight for their rights, or sometimes people seen when this happens, they say enough, you know, I no longer will be bullied, or I no longer will be stepped on, and they raise their head. But there is provocation, there is more arguments with others that happen, because the Ascendant is also on the axis of relationships. The Ascendant is the first house. Basically, the Ascendant is the number 1. There it says first house, you know. Some of you might have some physical pain, because the Ascendant is the physical body, some stabs and pain, sometimes some little accidents that can happen. You'll be more prone for that. It's very important now to have some workout regime and some release of tension regime, because Mars can activate, bring up the blood pressure. Mars can intensify the stress levels, the adrenaline, the hormones connected to stress. So it's good to balance those extra activated hormonal adrenal glands by eating more magnesium rich foods like Brazil nuts, bananas, avocados, spinach. You know, there is ways to balance out, because Mars brings up the adrenaline in the physical body, and that's what everyone actually, when Mars activates the Sun, Moon, or the Ascendant, it's very raises the stress levels, raises the blood pressure. People with high blood pressure have to be careful, because they'll have reasons for provocation and inflammatory conditions can appear again. Mars is inflammation, inflammatory conditions, and some kind of Mars can indicate physical pains and stuff, but Mars wants to kick you in the butt, to change something about your lifestyle, about your health, about your diet, about your physical exercise routines, to show some willpower in order to overcome these conditions, because 90% of the illnesses we bring to ourselves with our lifestyle. Either we stress too much, we don't eat properly, so it's good to be prepared. If your ascendant is going to be affected, have some workout routine, have some relaxation routine as well, because if it's only workout, you expulge the energy, but you need something to relax as well. Spend more time in nature, spend more time with eating soothing foods, as I said, magnesium and fruits, cooling fruits and vegetables as well, salads as well. But Mars transiting the ascendant, for people that are naturally more lazy, will definitely kick their butt into gear. You can start workout routines. People who are naturally more unassertive, Mars can make you more assertive. People, you might really become more ambitious, more to get yourself into action in some way. So that's the positive side of it. I've seen people, for example, train actively for sports, so people finally get motivated to start something they didn't have the courage to start before when Mars activates the ascendant, because the ascendant is also the first house of the horoscope, new beginnings, and Mars is action. So on the highest positive level, Mars can very much kick you into action to start some new beginnings and to break some old patterns in regards to how you treat your physical body, in regards to your assertion, in regards to your path in life overall. So very important transit. Second house, if it happens, if this number 2 falls within those degrees, then finances. So Mars can, on the most negative level, create extra expenses. Mars can create out of the blue destabilization of your finances. Mars can make you be more risk prone in regards to taking financial risks. Mars can, because Mars is this outer energy that goes and jumps with 2 feet, either expenses from outside or something in your finances that gets hectic. That's on the negative side. You can, or Mars is that, because it's a more damaging planet, can damage some property of yours, like someone steals a valuable object, or you lose a valuable or something that you consider valuable, or anything that's connected to tangible resources. Mars can create some damage there, purposeful or not. That's on the least, the most negative manifestation. But these things happen, and we have to talk about them. Cannot just tell you, oh, Mars in the second house, you will get so activated to make money. You have so much more money at the end of this process. Well, actually, you will get activated because something triggers you first, probably provoking you in that direction. If you're naturally proactive in resources and money, and both things can happen. You might get some valuables damaged, you might have some big expenses, but at the same time, you can get very much not organized, but disciplined, like a soldier, and show more willpower about scouting new resources, about securing new resources, about stabilizing your finances. Just like I told you, my husband had Mars transiting his second house, and we had some huge expenses that came, and he was going mental. He was resisting so much. He was so scared. But this is exactly what activated him to start looking for other resources, to start being more proactive at work. So he got a bonus, and he also organized a loan from somewhere. He did something about our finances. I don't know, it was like remortgaging or something. So we found the money, and we did great. And we ended up at the end with much less having to pay than we expected, because it organizes you to, it kind of, Mars pushes you into action to get proactive in regards to sorting out material financial matters. And to be more, and if you're naturally very proactive with money, wow, you'll be on fire now. if you're naturally connected to working in banks with other people's resources, with commodities of some sorts. And I remember then when he was having Mars retrograde in the second house, he was having 3 projects on commodities, because he works in commodities like resources and stuff. It was all about people wanting to restructure their resources, and he was trying to help them. So you can, if you have business or work connected to finances, to commodities, to selling any kind of tangible things, you can get yourself more proactive there. But be careful, because Mars is also a cruel planet. It can trigger this activation of work for you, of activation of finding new resources by creating first some crisis. Okay, third house. Third house is actually Mars loves transiting the third house, because it's naturally connected to self-initiative, the third house, and Mars makes you much more self-initiative. Third house is learning new skills, so Mars can make you much more initiative to finally, third house rules difficult things we have to do, like learning new skills, learning to drive, learning to operate a machine, learning to do, learning to speak a new language, learning to use a software, learning to market, to do marketing, learning to do any kind of new skills. And Mars gives you the courage, and you not to be afraid of those things. Mars gets you into gear, or Mars can force you to do it. You have no Mars does not care to do it nicely. Either you feel the excitement and do it, or someone will force you to get cracking on some new knowledge, to get cracking on some new skills, or you'll be required to use your skills to mobilize all your energy to use your skills. I remember when Mars was transiting retrograde quite a few years ago, my third house, it was I was doing websites, so a lot of stress. I had to cooperate and work in a team with others to do the websites. Third house rules websites, rules marketing, rules media. So rules, third house is so important, by the way. Rules organizational matters. So Mars makes more energy there. Mars makes you have to fight more, have to be more proactive in such matters. So if you're a speaker, writer, work in administrative tasks, in planning, managing, organizing, Mars transiting your third house cast really gets those things much more active. There might be some tension with others as well, especially if you work in a collective with a team, because third house rules teams of people, groups. So your colleagues, your schoolmates, someone that you're doing in projects, associates together with, these are the third house. And Mars can create some tension with such people. Mars can create someone wanting to dominate, but definitely there is activation. You having to be more active with such people. You having to mobilize your willpower together with such people. Or third house is your siblings and your neighbors. And your social contacts as well. So Mars can trigger you to be much more active with such people, or to solve some conflicts. Mars can confront you with some conflicts with such people, and you have to resolve them and deal with them, or some complications in their life. I remember when Mars transited my third house once, it didn't happen 3 times, but my laptop broke. So be careful with anything, communications, anything to do. Mars can create some technical issues when it triggers your third house 3 times, like emails, problems. Like, 'cause Mars is the troublemaker. I remember once I had a client, Mars transiting the third house, and it wasn't even retrograde. Someone hacked their email, sent to their clients' emails. Another one got their information stolen. Third one, someone hacked their website. Fourth one, technical problems with website. Fifth one, their laptop broke twice. The sixth one, someone stole their phone. So it's kind of a fourth one. Seventh one, conflicts between colleagues, and kind of more competition. Now competition increases when Mars triggers the third house. Within the group, some group of people that you're working with in a collective, the competition increases. The stress around such people also increases. The dynamic energy with such people also increases. So you can be very productive if you naturally are able to deal with such areas of life, and you're proactive. You can get a lot of work done with such people. or a lot of work done in regards to learning new skills, in regards to organizing, planning, managing. Definitely. The final results is always, it's stressful while you're doing it, but the final result tends to be very good. You've developed much more willpower in that respect, and much more, you got a lot more done. Okay, fourth house, family. So all those things we talked about might come from the mother, stresses coming from family, or some damages to the property, sometimes in extreme cases that you have to deal with, or to vehicles as well. Fourth house cusp rules that, or to sometimes, like, remember someone had Mars transiting their fourth house and they bought a house. Another one was renovating a house. Another one was making big changes to an old house, because Mars wants renovations, changes, you know. Someone had problems in their family, so there was a lot of tension, and they're trying to solve it. Another one stopped talking to their mother because they realized the mother, no matter how much they tried to appease the mother, she was just a bully, the mother overall, and they discontinued the relationship with the mother. Third person got very much excited about starting their property business company, because fourth house is property, and got activated. Another one was doing his offices. Fourth house is again property. So for 5-6 months he was arranging offices, all such kind of things. So it can manifest on very different level, but there is trigger there with family, home, property in some way. Okay, fifth house is children. So your children might become more independent, or your children might become more, answering back, or more handful, or their life can become much busier and hectic and stressful, so you might have to help in some way. Or they might have some challenges that you have to help with. This is the more difficult manifestation. Or sometimes I've seen when Mars is transiting the fifth house cusp. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit tired now. Fifth house is your creative project, and Mars loves transiting the fifth house. It naturally resonates with the energy there, so you become more competitive in sports as well. You can become much more involved with fun sports and games. You can start playing squash or whatever, competitive sports of some sort. If you are involved in any physical sports, you definitely get much more pleasure. You can develop more Mars types of hobbies, because fifth house is the things we find pleasurable, enjoyable. So you can become more daring, more like rock climbing, or I don't know, parachute diving, or more extreme sports that you want to do. You can have more extreme fun as well. You can do amusements that are martial, which are more physical, which sexuality increases as well when Mars transits the fifth house cusp. But Mars is also one's lovers, not the people you're married to. It's the relationships of dating before marriage or before having a child with someone. Even if you've lived for 10 years with them, if you're not married or have vows and live together, and if you don't have, like a spouse splitting everything in two, money, stuff, whatever, or if you have children, then it's the fifth house. Is those people you date, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers on the side, love interest that makes your stomach butterflies. So Mars there can definitely intensify the desire towards such people, the desire to pursue such people, the activity, action happening, development happening with such people. But at the same time, there might be tension, there might be arguments that Mars triggers with such people. If you're unhappy with something with them, you speak out and you confront them. Or if they're unhappy in something with you, they'll speak out and confront you. Fifth house is your children or pregnancies. So watch out if you get pregnant. You can actively start doing things to get pregnant. For example, if you've now been just waiting for things to happen, now you involve your willpower to get pregnant. So maybe start measuring your temperature, ovulation, going to doctors, checking things, eating the right foods, exercising the right way. But also Mars, because it's a troublemaker, in the worst case scenario, it can create if you're pregnant, some kind of I don't want to say abortions, but like maybe having to have a cesarean, which is Mars's operations and things like that, or some bit more painful pregnancy in a sense. Okay, that's very extreme. That's very specific for horoscope. You might be children might not be anything about the fifth house. It's your creative projects as well. So you become much more When Mars, like you might be asked to develop your willpower in regards to creative projects. If your business is, if you have your own business, is the 5th house, because your 5th house is like your child. You bring it up from a child. You use your creative intelligence to develop it, no matter how boring your business is. Even if it's not creative, it's your business, it's your baby, it's your 5th house. Mars makes you get much more active with projects there. Much more, there might be complications and challenges, and but at the same time it activates you to be proactive in those things and to develop more willpower to make this happen. 6th house, Mars transiting the 6th house cusp. First of all, it's work, so there might be much more workload, energy that you have to put in your work and services. If you're employed for someone, the workload can increase, and some kind of challenges can come from the workplace. And you might have to become much more, sometimes longer hours at work. 6th house is your work environment. It can become more stressful, more competitive again. 6th house is your organization, your daily routines. Mars can finally kick your butt to become more organized, to put order into your life, to sort out your desk, to sort out your laptop, to systemize, to organize it, to sort out your, whatever your daily routines, to make them more productive, more efficient, and to overall put more order in your life. 6th house, your health as well. It's more like illness. So Mars there transiting, if it triggers some health problems like the need for operation, pains, you can overcome that by changing your physical health routines. Mars tells you now it's time to develop your willpower in order to change what you eat, how you exercise, because otherwise health problems will come. Okay, 6th house is also enmities. So Mars helps you overcome your enemies there, because Mars gives you willpower and strength. 6th house is debt as well. Debt. So Mars can kick you into gear to do something about a debt, a loan that you own someone, to consolidate or whatever, I don't know what it is, but to work 2 jobs so you can pay out a debt, for example. But the good thing is that it helps you overcome your enemies. It helps you, but those enemies obviously will be there. If you'll be overcoming enemies, someone will be challenging you. And competitive enemies are competitors, people that are trying to harm you in some way. And you have the chance to confront them and sort these things out. And if you're in litigation or fighting with someone in court, you can have more success while Mars is retrograde in your 6th house. It won't be easy. Such things are not easy. I'm not saying that you all will go into court processes, but if Mars is transiting your 6th house cusp, you're in some court, some legal fight, you have more of a chance to beat the person. 7th house, relationships. 7th house cusp, relationships. So any kind of issues that have been swept under the carpet with your partner will come to the surface. If you've had tension before, it will escalate further, so it can be resolved helpfully. If not, there might be some breakups. Partnerships with others, business or personal, you might become very proactive in pursuing partnerships, whether personal or business, or you might attract more people that are Martian around your life right now in your energy. Not only lovers, not only relationships, partnerships, but like overall in your environment. You can meet a lot more Mars energy from others, which is more pushy, more activating. When I had Mars transiting my 7th house, often someone would say something that upsets me, biting words, threatens to do something to sue me or whatever, or complains to me about whether it's business, whether it's something, that I'm not doing right. And I react very upset. But then I realized, obviously, I'm not doing something right there. So I start thinking about how I can improve it. And by the end of this process, by September, you'd have, exactly through such challenges from others and relationships tensions, you could have improved a lot in your life. You could have fixed things that you were not aware were there. And overall, you can, or if you need someone to fight battles for you right now, when Mars transits your 7th house cusp. This is when you can meet someone that is very feisty, very battle-oriented, someone who can go fight on your behalf as well. That's another manifestation. Mars transiting the 8th house cusp, that's other people's money. So if you're involved with business that involves clients' money or business partnership money or money with banks, or you work in a bank, work with other people's money, or your partner's money, there might be some changes there now that happen. For example, your partner might have to, change job, and that can impact his finances, that can stabilize. Again, 8th house is more financially destabilizing, so it can affect you through mutual resources or finances that come to you through others, whether it's bank loans that you expect, or whether it's support you receive from somewhere. You might have to make changes there. Or when I had it 2013, Mars retrograde in my 8th house, and my partner, as I said, had it in his 2nd house, and so my partner was going a bit cuckoo over money, and he was stressing out for that. So that's how I felt it. And also I spent lots of money then, like, I don't know, all my savings to decorate the house. So it goes like expenses, but it stressed my finances, but I have a nice decorated home now. So it doesn't have to be always bad. You might be fighting for some money that is in regards to other people, like taxes, or you might have to fix something and change something in regards to how you do taxes. Or you have to pay attention more towards taxes as well. Or it might be 8th house is inheritances. You might be having to do some battle, or things about mutual finances, so to be more proactive about mutual finances in some way as well. Okay. And at that time, when Mars was transiting my 8th house, I came up with quite a few new ideas how to make money together with the people I'm working with, so mutual finances. Mars transiting the 9th house cusp, that's quite positive, quite easy. Naturally, it activates towards more adventure, towards expanding your horizons, can activate you towards higher education, can activate you towards searching, towards traveling in faraway places, especially in regards to doing something adventurous, something more physical, something excitable. But but on the negative scale, trips in foreign countries might be a bit more dangerous, might be a bit more risk prone, might be a bit more stressful. Arranging documents and visas for foreign stay can be a bit more stressful. You might be activated in that direction with some more complications, but if you put hard work and willpower, you can overcome it. 9th house is the father figure in your life, mentors, your father. When I had Mars transiting my 9th house cusp, I had big fights with my dad. It was, so be careful if you already have a problematic relationship with father or mentor figures. When Mars transits there, it can trigger it strongly. It can also make you fight for your beliefs, what you strongly believe that's the 9th house. 9th house is pre-qualification. Mars can activate you to get to pre-qualify in some way, can kick you in the butt and say, now it's time to gain new qualifications for your career. Okay, 10th house cusp, these are authority figures. You might be having some stressful provocation from authority figures, people that are above you, people in government, or if you're your own boss, you definitely become much more proactive. Or even if you're not your own boss, you definitely become more proactive in order to impress authority figures, in order to strengthen your own authority, in order to put a better structure in your career, in order to reconfirm your leadership skills. You might be asked to be a leader and to lead someone in some way when Mars transits the 10th house cusp, to fight some battle for others as a leader. If you have your own business, it requires a lot of work. Definitely Mars activates you to be super busy with business projects, with work projects. It's like you're given extra pressure, extra workload there. And some problems can appear, complications that you have to fight, that you have to resolve. Again, at the end of the process, by September, you should see the positive results of that. And it should start getting easy from July onwards already. Okay, Mars transiting the 11th house cusp. These are friends, groups of people. So there might be some complications in the life of friends, or there might be some tensions arising in communal environment, or with colleagues, for example. These are again groups of people, or in your social circle in some way. But again, you can become very active. I know people that had Mars retrograde in the 11th house, they became very active, socially active in such groups and organizations. They had started contributing to society. Another was forced to do that to serve community time. That's extreme cases, you know. Third one just got super politically excited and got involved with world events, because 11th house rules the world events that impact us on a big level. So getting very very activated there. 11th house rules, sorry, also our goals and long-term wishes. So you can become very proactive in pursuing your long-term goals and wishes, in going after your dreams. Mars transiting the 12th house. Now this is when you can feel a bit more restless, because 12th house is rest, sleep, and Mars is the opposite, action, energy. So if it's triggering a 12th house cusp, you might find it hard for periods of time to sleep, to rest, to relax. And you have to look consciously for such, to consciously organize, to find ways to relax, to let go, to find ways to release the tension, because Mars wants you to be proactive in regards to 12th house matters, which is in regards to proactive in regards to how you relax, how you let go, how you let steam off. Also, 12th house is foreign, living in foreign countries, anything to do with foreigners. Mars might ask you to be proactive and active in such different countries, or, you know, with foreigners or faraway places. And 12th house is also financial losses. So Mars can make you get proactive about finance, about sorting out financial matters again. So thank you very much. That's a long video. I'm so tired now. I hope you enjoyed that. And write to me. I don't want to scare you, you know. It can be very gentle influence for some. For some, it can be much more intense. It depends on your personal horoscope. We can check, you know, your personal horoscope for £32, answer to one question. If you write to me, I can see how Mars will impact you personally. I'll do a recording for you for about 10 minutes to see which areas of your life it will impact and how to deal with that. You can find my personal services at astrolada.com. Thank you very much. And go for it. Mars wants you to go for it, to be active, proactive, and you'll see some amazing positive changes.